Welcome to part 3 of this project of turning this 1975 CVCC wagon into a little EV get-around. So today I'm gonna get in there and try and take the seats out. Hopefully they'll come out pretty easily. Then we can get a really good look at the floor pan, front and back, just to see how rusty it is. From there I can do some measurements too and just see where the support beams are and things like that. If I get to it, I'd like to lift it up and put it on the jack stands today as well and get underneath and poke around with a screwdriver, see what falls off, basically. So stay tuned and we'll see what happens today. Well, there you have it. Seats out. As I feared, this doesn't look so good. But, like I said, it may all have to go anyways. Was thinking that I probably would cut out this whole part of the floor. This is where the gas tank is. Cut that out. Put something up to the level of the seats here. And then down a couple inches and hopefully have room to fit some batteries. All the way from this crossbar straight across and back between the rear wheel wells. That's the best place to put the batteries because the weight will be nice and low, evenly distributed. It's better to have the weight as close to the center or front as possible for stability and for handling. There's no room under the hood for batteries once the motor's in there, so it's all got to be behind the front seats. But if I can get them as close to the back of the front seats as possible, and then ideally, I can always go up, but I'd sacrifice the whole back seat, and that's kind of defeats the purpose of having a station wagon with 5 doors. And if the back doors just open up to a battery box. So it'd be nice to have this bench seat in the back, sitting on top of the batteries. So far, I have to say that everything above the floor pan looks pretty rust-free. All right, now take the rest of the bench seat out and take some of this plastic trim off so we can expose all the steel. Okay, I think that is probably just about it for today. I got all the seats out, pulled the seat belts out, pulled the little moldings off of the footboards here. Most of the structural strength of this car runs down these side beams, and they actually seem really solid. I haven't found any rust attacking them at all, so that gives me more room in between them to place a battery box. And sort of the idea is that if I can put a battery box that's rigid, which it has to be in order to safely hold the batteries, it actually will add structural strength because it'll function as a cross beam bolted heavily into place. I feel like at this point it's way more doable than I was worried about. One thing I did do is I swapped out the hood from the hood I got at the salvage yard, and well, it is I don't know, at least it's got hinges. The hinges open and close now. They took a little bit of work to get them to move. They're all rusted shut, but I used some penetrating oil and a lot of hammering them and pushing them, pulling them and bolting them on here, and now they work pretty okay. Doesn't shut, but that's because the latch needs to be fixed. Because it goes into the latch, it just doesn't click. It does need repair in this bottom corner here. It's got some holes. I think it will work out well. So, since last time there was a little bit of a slowdown because of trying to get the title transferred. So what happens is that because the car came from out of state and it doesn't run, it's a little bit complicated with the state. I had to get a CHP to come out to the car and verify the VIN number, and before he did that, it had to have the same engine in it. It had to have everything intact so that they can make sure that it is all the same car and it's not a bunch of stolen parts thrown together and crossing state lines and trying to be sold as a different car than it is. So that happened, which is awesome. CHP came out, I wasn't even here. He took a look at it, he wrote down the VIN number, he filled out a form, he left the form inside the car, and now I can take it to the DMV, the form, and get it all registered as inoperable, but get the title transferred, which is awesome because I can start to strip it down and start to take the engine out. Nobody ever has to see that engine again, so that's awesome. One of the first priorities that I have to do is to replace the brakes all around and get them working. I don't want to move the car without brakes because it just kind of rolls. The only way to stop it is to put it in gear, and that's kind of dodgy. So I want to get the brakes working, and then we can push it and pull it and roll it and get it in and out of the garage, which would be cool. Hopefully by the end of the week we'll have all the parts for the brakes and we can get started on that this weekend. I'm heading out to the DMV this morning to get the paperwork all sorted and get the title transferred into my name. What's cool is that because the car is a 75, it doesn't need to get a smog check. So that means they can register it and I can start to do work on it and I can do anything I want to it. It never has to get smog checked, which is a huge advantage, because that car would never pass a smog. It's so messed up. I mean, even if I got the motor running, I don't think it would pass a smog. So since I never plan on getting the motor running, I don't need to worry about it. It's awesome. Now, hopefully DMV won't have a long line. Success. The car's legit now. It only took a little while because of the fact that it's inoperable and it came from out of state and all that stuff, but I had the paperwork from CHP and it went through and now it's all done. Well, got those off. Now where to start with them? I think I've got everything I need for the brakes, except for one more package has to come, which is the springs for the drum brakes. I've got the shoes, I've got brand new drum, I've got the cylinder. I am gonna take these apart and I'm gonna take apart this suspension. I'm gonna clean it, scrape all the rust off of it, prime them, and then paint them before they all go back together. So that'll take me a good number of days before I get around to actually putting springs on the drum brakes. So I'm all good. But I'm pretty psyched. I'll show you all the parts I got. This is Taba. He likes to do car with me. But this is all the parts that I've scrubbed eBay and Parts Geek and any place I could find parts that would fit this car. And so I should have just about everything for the brakes, and that'll be brand new. Taba's doing an unboxing for us. What do you got there? Honestly, he just likes to eat the cardboard. You want to see the first thing I've actually got working on this car that wasn't working before? Replace this. Now the trunk opens and closes. Amazing, right? So, step by step. Yeah, actually, it's only been a couple of days and we're pretty far into the teardown, so it's not going too bad. The conversion to the electric and the motor and the battery, those are going to be pretty big deals. Those are going to take some time. I have to decide on exactly what I'm going to get. I'm going to have to make sure that it's available, so I have to try and source it. And once I get it actually home, the typical procedure is to bench test it all. So you got to take all those electronic components, the batteries, the motor, the controllers, the battery management system, the charger, all the circuits. You got to hook them all together and turn it on. Make sure the motor runs the way you predict it to run. Before you take all the time, which could be, weeks and weeks of work to get it actually bolted into the car and get everything situated and wired through the car, only to find out that you have some compatibility issues and the batteries just don't work with that motor, or the motor that you bought is a dud, or because all this stuff is used equipment. So that step is going to take a little time, so bear with me. I'll try and follow the steps of doing the bench test, getting it all working. I find that stuff interesting. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos of people doing it, but it's a little electrical engineering project. So until next time, thanks for watching. Stay tuned, subscribe below, like the video, and I'll see you next time.